Let's head back to Smurf and find out.
Together. Cyclone, have you met Musculor? And Professor Popov? Jolly good. Musculor and Professor Popov arrived last night, so you're starting the whole programme together this morning. Musculor, well, you can see what kind of superhero he is. Losing the name, eh? And Professor Popov is an extremely gifted scientist who can create amazing things with his experiments. So now, let's get started. Freddie, would you mind helping me with the presentation? Marvellous, thank you. Well, as you can see here, I have written Mythbusters. We need to bust some of those myths surrounding being a superhero. Now, myths are things that are not true. So number one, the first myth. Superheroes are in charge of the world. Well, no, that's clearly nonsense.
But,
no buts, it's true. You did not make the world. You do not rule over the world. You are not God.
Hang on a minute. I did not say that I was God.
But you think you are God, which is just as bad.
I do not think that I am God.
Must I have all of these interruptions? You think you can solve everything. You with your big muscles, and you with your power over the wind, and you with your fantastic experiments. But you can't. And here's the thing that you need to listen to. Nobody is expecting you to.
Really? It's just that he doesn't feel like it. Exactly. It feels like it's all up to us.
All our responsibility.
Well, if you learn anything from this morning, it's this. Repeat after me. Nobody is expecting me to solve the problems of the world. Are you ready?
Nobody is expecting me to solve the problems of the world.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You can say it a little bit better than that. Would you say it a bit more? Ready?
Nobody is expecting me to solve the problems of the world.
So you say, but the world is full of problems.
You are telling me. Look at me with my huge muscles and my super speed. For years I have been running around, racing to disasters, getting there just in time, and saving the day. I can't count the number of people I have saved physically, but...
And there is that but again.
But it is not enough. Some people need saving on the inside, and I just can't do that. I just can't save them from burning buildings. I can't figure out how to save them on the inside. I feel useless.
Me too. If I could just create perfect experiments to solve poverty, find equations to solve world homeless crisis, I have been racking my brain for years. But nothing I do is enough.
Gentlemen. Oh, and Lady Two, we will not have this despair in the superhero life uplift and recovery program. It is not necessary. Now, what was the thing I told you to remember?
Nobody is expecting me to solve the problems of the world.
That's it, because somebody has already taken on that responsibility. Show the picture too, Freddie. What do you know about Jesus?
Not much. He was born in a stable in Bethlehem. He was born 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem.
He's got a very good beard, but what has that got to do with us?
Oh, my dear boy, he has got everything to do with everything. He was born fully human on earth, like us, but he was also the Son of God. There's been nobody like him before or since.
Why on earth did God send
Well, that's just it. The world was in a mess. Not just a physical mess, the like of which you three have been sorting things out, but the people of the world were in a mess inside of themselves. They'd turned away from God and said, "No thanks, God, we don't want to know you, we don't want to be your friend." They were completely separated from God. Look at this picture. Can you see the big gap that humankind had created? There was us on one side, God on the other. But there was no way to get back to God.
So God sent Jesus on earth to help us make friends with God again. It's as simple as that, in a nutshell.
And there are lots of stories in the Bible which show how Jesus showed to everyone that he was God's son and that God loved them. In fact, Cyclone, there's one story that might help you in particular. It's the story of the calming of the storm.
It was early evening at the end of a lovely, calm day. Jesus had been busy teaching by the lake, but now he was ready to rest. He called to his friends and said to them, "Let's go out across the lake together." They climbed into a fishing boat and set off across the lake, leaving the crowds behind. The friends chatted happily, enjoying the lovely, peaceful evening, and Jesus lay back and fell asleep. When they were only halfway across, suddenly, out of nowhere, a terrible wind whirled up around them. A blinding flash of lightning lit up the sky, and thunder roared right overhead. They were caught in the middle of a huge storm. The wind blew the sea up into towering waves, and the little boat was swept up, and then sent crashing back down again. Jesus' friends were terrified. They were used to storms, but they had never experienced one like this. It was just too big for their little boat, and they were scared. They turned to Jesus, but he was still sleeping peacefully in the front of the boat. So they screamed at him, "Help! Wake up! Don't you care if we all drown?" When Jesus heard them shouting, he woke up. Then he spoke directly to the powerful raging storm. "Quiet," he said, "be still." And the winds and the waves obeyed him. At once, the wind stopped and the water became calm again. His friends in the boat were amazed. They could not believe that he could have such power over the weather. But Jesus turned to them and said, "Why were you so afraid? Did you forget who I am? God is looking after you. Trust him."